Yes, sir. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City's 9/30/2021 virtual hearing. My name is Nicholas Blendy, and I am the Deputy Executive Secretary for the board. We have all three of our regular commissioners here, as well as many of my colleagues, and we're ready to go with today's virtual hearing. As you can see on the screen, we use the WebEx platform, and here's the outline of what I'm about to go over and what we'll be doing today. As I made mention, Cisco WebEx is the online meeting platform that the City of Baltimore uses to conduct virtual meetings. The Board of Estimates and the City Council and the Planning Department have used WebEx, and as do we. And we are using it to hold our our virtual meetings since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. Some basics on Cisco: to fully utilize the WebEx system, members of the general public should have access to a laptop, an iPad, excuse me, a smartphone or similar device that has a camera and microphone capabilities. If your device does not have a microphone capabilities, then you can still use the camera, but you can dial in using the phone number there at the bottom of this screen on a second device. To participate in the WebEx meeting, members of the public need to download the WebEx app on their smartphones, or they can click on the link to see the hearing online through their web browser. You can see the access code and the password there. We suggest that if you're going to use your smartphone, iPad, or similar device, that you have downloaded the application at least a day before today's hearing so that you ensure you have access and there's no updates or anything that needs to occur. If a member of the general public does not have access to a computer, a smartphone, or similar device, then you can also use that number I mentioned earlier and use the access code below to listen only to the hearing. All materials, evidence, and related items for today's docket. Materials, copies of the short docket, which provide the brief description of the cases before the board today, as well as the long docket, which includes all the materials contained in the applications for the cases, are found on our website under the hyperlink with today's date, September 30th, 2021. During the virtual hearing process, the board observes a 48-hour rule for online hearings, meaning that all evidence to be considered today is found in the long docket, and we accept any additional evidence from any party up to 48 hours before today, meaning that all evidence must have been submitted no later than 11 a.m. on Tuesday, September 28th, 2021, to be considered as timely evidence for consideration today. If your evidence was submitted later than this date and time, it will not be considered by the board during the hearing. As always, all evidence should be submitted via email to the board's Assistant Executive Secretary, Ms. Stacy Russell, at stacy.russell@baltimorecity.gov. And we are virtually operating. The board is not accepting any documents in person for today's hearing. Any amendments to applications made by the applicants or their representatives are not or will not be accepted after September 16th, 2021 for any case being heard today. If they do wish to amend an application either today or it came after September 16th, the case is automatically postponed. In addition to the posting of the today's docket online, all licensees and applicants were mailed a letter instructing them of the date and time of their virtual hearing. Some procedures for today's docket. I'm reading the preliminary instructions and general ground rules for the hearing process, and will be running proceedings when the chairman is not. I will call each case in order as it's listed on the short docket. I will then ask the applicant and his or her representative to identify themselves, and if applicable, have the applicant and or any supporting witnesses be sworn in by our court reporter. Then we'll conduct a case hearing, and the board will provide an opportunity for the applicant and his or her representative to present their case to the board. The board may ask questions of the attorney or the applicant. At the conclusion of the case, the chairman will ask any individual who's on the call and has access to the necessary technology to have their video on if they wish to testify in support or opposition to the application. At that time, I will ask you to please use the raise your hand feature and be recognized. The raise your hand feature is at the bottom of the WebEx platform. If you do wish to testify, as I mentioned, I'll move you into the panel. The court reporter will swear you in under oath, and you are subject to any questioning by the board and cross-examination by the applicant and or their counsel. After all testimony and evidence is presented to the board will then formally vote on the application before them, and the assistant executive secretary will read the exhibits into the record. We note that the board is not authorized to discuss any non-case related matters at today's hearing. The board is sitting today in its quasi-judicial capacity, and it's authorized only to hear testimony and evidence related to cases that are before it on today's docket. No other cases or any policy matters can be discussed at today's hearing. Some general ground rules and helpful information. We ask that you please mute yourself when you're not speaking to minimize feedback and extra noise. When you are speaking, we ask that you please identify yourself and state the spelling of your name before you speak. We ask that you please speak slowly and in a clear voice so that our court reporter understands exactly what's being said and who is saying it. I note again that this event is running live on Charm TV and that a court reporter is present. Individuals who use profanity, are disrespectful or unruly may be expelled from today's hearing. All attendees, the applicants, licensees, and members of the public who wish to testify must be sworn in prior to giving their testimony, as it's all taken under oath. We are taking no physical evidence at today's proceedings, and again, to reiterate, no amendments, absolutely none, to the application may be made at today's hearing. Some helpful reminders. We ask that you please be prepared, have read the materials ahead of time, that you've tested your WebEx video conferencing platform and are in a good location, a quiet space with some good light and a strong internet connection so that you can be seen and heard clearly. We ask that you be present, meaning not multitasking, so that when the time comes for you to participate, you're ready to go and there's no delay. And finally, as always, we ask that you please be patient with yourself and with others. We're dealing with a virtual technological world that always seems to throw us a curveball or two, but we always work through it. That concludes the preliminary instructions, and the short docket is up on the screen now. Mr. Chairman, it's your show now. Please advise what you'd like to do.
Let's proceed. Let's go with case number 1.
First case on today's docket. The applicant is Mark D. Larkin Jr., Inkworks Incorporated, trading as Coppermine. Premises are located at 5602 Cottonworth Avenue, known as 5731 Cottonworth Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland, 21209. This is an application to transfer ownership and location of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license presently located at 5736 Falls Road to 5602 Cottonworth Avenue, also known as 5731 Cottonworth Avenue. Counsel for this case is Mr. Fogelman and has been moved in. And as the chairman is aware, there has been a request to postpone this case that has been submitted to the board. Mr. Fogelman.
Identify yourself for the record, please.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the applicant. We have had a chance briefly to speak with Mr. Cadigan, Mr. and Mrs. Stevens, and I understand they, by letter, requested a postponement. We'll certainly be joining in that request. The understanding is that this case would be reset on October 21st. Thank you.
That's my understanding as well. So, all right, the case will be continued to October 21's docket. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That concludes this matter on today's docket. The case will be continued until the next available hearing date, which is October 21st, 2021, for virtual hearing. Mr. Chairman, are we ready to move forward?
Yes.
Case number 2 before the board today. Applicant Jasmine Jones, Chetta Johns LLC, trading as Chetta Johns. Premises are located at 1184 to 86 Nanticoke Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21230. And this is an application to transfer ownership only of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Fogelman is also counsel on this case.
Okay. Would you again identify yourself, please?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Commissioner Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of applicant Jasmine Jones, who's here in my office and to the right of me on the camera.
Good morning. Do you want to proffer this, Mr. Fogelman?
I certainly would. In the interest of time, Ms. Jones has performed, had quite a career. She's worked in food distribution. She served as a stevedore in the Port of Baltimore. She's always wanted to be in the restaurant business. She has a lifelong friend named Darius Divers, who's better known as Cheddar Johns. He's an excellent chef with an excellent reputation, and she found an opportunity that she believes is reasonable as far as the rent, and has a nice kitchen. And so they intend to serve all sorts of light fare, pub grub, but with the specialty being the burgers, the Cheddar John burger. And Miss Jones is alcohol management certified and understands that this board takes the regulations and rules very, very seriously. And she expects to be in 100% compliance. She'll be at the bar at least 35, 40 hours a week. And she has an ID card for anybody who appears under that age.
Will our staff be certified as well?
Yes, they will.
Commissioners have any questions?
Mr. Fogelman, any engagement with the community?
No, but Ms. Jones reports that there wasn't, they're unaware of an active community association there, but she's reported that the neighbors are excited to have the place reopen. It's been shut down during COVID, and that everybody's been reporting, asking, when are you open? And we're looking forward to it, to have a place to eat on Nanticoke Street.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Commissioner Reisinger, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Okay.
Thanks, Commissioner.
Do we have public comment, Mr. Blendy?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. Mr. Chairman, I do not see any member of the public who wishes to testify.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Fogelman. On the
Thank you.
basis of the materials contained in the application and your proffer with respect to the plans for this new restaurant, I would vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of the BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Commissioner?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I approve the application to transfer ownership of Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Based upon the application and the proffer from Mr. Fogelman, I too would vote to approve the transfer of ownership.
Thank you, Commissioners. Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
Okay, well then, good luck to your client, Mr. Fogelman. I hope this works out.
Thank you all.
That concludes this matter before the board today. Applicant and then representative will receive follow-up instructions on how to complete the transfer as legally required within 180 days of today's hearing. Mr. Chairman, are you ready for the next matter?
Yes, sir.
The next item on today's docket, applicants Edwin Aguilar and Danny Lopez, Orion's LLC, trading as Orion's Pub. Premises are located at 53 to 55 South Crescent Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21224. This is an application to transfer ownership only of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Mr. Fogelman is again counsel on this case, Mr. Chair.
Thank
Once more,
you.
Mr.
Thank you. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of applicants Edwin Aguilar and Danny Lopez.
And will you proffer this as well?
I'm happy to. Mr. Aguilar and Mr. Lopez run a construction firm. They've both been associated with this bar as manager and in other capacities for a couple of years now. This is a family affair. They are married. And they operate a bar. It's a local bar for local neighbors in the upper. It's a neighborhood that almost defies definition. It's almost an industrial area. It's right behind Bayview, the Bayview Hospital campus out Lombard Street on your way to 895. But they do have some neighbors back there, and it's been very popular. It's a place to eat. It's a place to grab a beer. It mostly caters to the local crowd, which is new Americans. They have, like I say, have served as manager of this bar for a while. And in fact, licensee Aguiar is a licensee. He was the city resident, and then he said, hey, let's buy this place. So they already know the place. They already are both alcohol management certified. They've been test driving this thing for a while, and they've been trying to get it transferred. There are all sorts of little technical difficulties, but they're excited to have their names together on this license, and they'll both, one of them will be there at almost every hour of the day. They will also have their staff alcohol management certified, and they understand they need to have 100% compliance with the rules and regs of the liquor board. Finally, they do have a doorman, and there is a 100% ID check.
Yeah, this establishment had a COVID violation last year, I believe. So with respect to hours and things like that. So are they back on regular standard hours of operation?
They are with masks on, unless you're seated and drinking or eating. So yes.
Okay. All right. Do the commissioners have questions?
No questions, Mr. Chair.
No questions.
Do we have members of the public, Mr. Blendy?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter before the board, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. Mr. Chair, no one appears to wish to testify.
All right, Ms. Fogelman, then on the basis of the materials contained in the application and your extensive proffer with respect to this facility and how they intend to run it, I would vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of this BG7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Commissioners?
I approve the application to transfer ownership of the Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license.
Based upon the application and the proffer from Mr. Fogelman, I too would vote to approve the transfer of ownership.
Thank you all.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
Okay, well, thank you, Ms. Fogelman. Good luck to your clients. I hope this works out for them as well.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Commissioners.
That concludes this matter before the board today. License transfer has been preliminarily approved. Applicant and the council will receive follow-up communications via mail with instructions on how to complete the legal transfer of ownership, which must occur within 180 days of today's hearing. Mr. Chairman, are we ready to move on?
We are.
Item number 4 on today's docket is applicant Kinney Sachet Decatur, Door 61 LLC, trading as a trade name pending. Premises are located at 2021 Maryland Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland, 21218. This is an application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license with requesting outdoor table service and off-premises catering. The counsel on this case is Mr. Hurdle, and I am moving him into the panel right now. He should be in under the name of Melvin Kadensky.
Are you there, Mr. Hurdle?
I think we should be all set.
Okay, would you identify yourself for the record, please?
Abraham Hurdle on behalf of Door 61 LLC. With me is Ms. Sachet Decatur. Also, it's Mr. Kelly Cross from the local neighborhood association.
Okay, are they going to testify?
No, we're going to proffer along the use, the application.
Okay, go ahead.
This is a new restaurant license. It meets the build-out requirements, 75 seats. This is an area of the city that is experiencing significant growth in terms of restaurant, bars, taverns, and my client has done much of the build-out. We're still working with planning to get some things sorted out, but everything looks very optimistic at this point. She plans to be alcohol awareness certified. I believe she has taken alcohol awareness at this time. She's done the background check, is my understanding. She anticipates having her staff be fully alcohol awareness certified as well. They will serve food. We don't have an example of the menu, I think, today. We're still working on some aspects of it, but we do plan to open in the next couple of months and go from there.
And is there an investment requirement on this as well?
I believe it's $250,000, yes.
And do we have that?
We don't have the receipts on hand yet. We're still working on it. Much of the investment has been met. I think we have the receipts. Eli, I think, has the receipts in hand. I just think we need to send them over to the board. Is the issue at this point.
Of course, it'd be conditioned on meeting those requirements.
Absolutely. And I've been to the space Chairman, and the space certainly meets the build-out requirements. Very nice.
Okay. Do commissioners have questions?
No questions, Mr. Chair.
No questions.
Do we have public comment, Mr. Blundy?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter before the board today, please use the raise your hand feature on the WebEx platform. I see no member of the public who wishes to testify, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hurdle, then on the basis of the materials contained in the application and your proffer with respect to this new restaurant, I would vote to approve the application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license with outdoor table service and off-premise catering. Commissioners?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I approve the application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license and the request of the outdoor table service and off-premise catering.
Based upon the application and the proffer from Mr. Hurdle, I too would approve the new Class B license with outdoor table service and off-premise catering.
Thank you. Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
Thank you,
Thank you, Mr.
Commissioners.
Hurdle. Good luck
Thank you.
to
That concludes this matter before the board today. Applicant has received preliminary approval for their new Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. Follow-up instructions on how to complete the legal obtaining of their license will be sent via mail to the applicant and counsel. Mr. Chair, are we ready to move forward?
We are.
The next item on today's docket is applicant Gunhee Lee and Skylar Marie Rafferty, HOL Incorporated, trading as Doc's Liquors. Premises are located at 2101 West Lexington Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21223. This is an application to transfer ownership and requesting delivery of alcoholic beverages of a Class A2 beer, wine, and liquor license. I believe Mr. Hurdle is counsel on this case as well, Mr. Chair.
Would you identify yourself again, please?
Abraham Hurdle on behalf of Whole Inc., trading as Doc's Liquors. With me is Mr. Lee. Ms. Rafferty couldn't be here today. I will keep her in the loop as to the outcome of the hearing.
Are you going to proffer this as well?
Absolutely, Chairman. This is an existing location liquor store license. The new applicant plans to operate the location exactly as it has been operated in the past. Ms. Rafferty will help out with some books and record keeping and fill in shifts on occasion. Mr. Lee and Ms. Rafferty, as well as the rest of the staff, will be alcohol awareness certified, and they will try to keep it that way. They will not sell to minors. They will card everyone, hopefully everyone who comes in the door, but certainly everyone who looks under 40, and they will only order from wholesalers. I have talked to them about the other various rules and regulations, and they have reviewed them as well, and they plan to operate certainly within those rules and regulations of the Baltimore City Liquor Board.
So this location had some violations back a while ago, back in the 08, 10, 14 period. So I understand you've made them aware of that, but they need to be careful, okay?
We've discussed kind of troublesome areas, and we've addressed them, we believe.
Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
No questions.
We have public comment, Mr. Blundy.
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter before the board, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. Mr. Chair, I see no member of the public who wishes to testify.
Thank you. Mr. Hurdle, on the basis then of the materials contained in the application and your proffer, I'd vote to approve the application to transfer this Class A2 beer, wine, and liquor license with delivery of alcoholic beverages. Commissioners?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I approve the application to transfer ownership requesting delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Based upon the application and the proffer from Mr. Hurdle, I too would vote to approve the transfer of ownership with the delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Thank you. Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr. Hurdle.
Commissioners.
Good luck, Mr. Lee.
That concludes this matter before the board. This application has been preliminarily approved. Applicant and counsel will receive follow-up instructions from this agency via mail with how to legally complete their transfer, which must occur by law within 180 days of today's hearing. Mr. Chair, are we ready to move forward?
Yes.
The next matter before the board today, applicant Chelsea Faye Gregor, Church Bar Baltimore LLC, trading as Church Bar. Premises are located at 2219 Maryland Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland 21218. This is an application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license and requesting outdoor table service. I believe applicant is represented by Mr. Kadensky.
Good morning, Mr. Kadensky. Would you identify yourself for the record, please?
I just unmuted Mr. Kadensky. He should probably try again.
All right, Melvin J. Kadensky, 320 North Charles Street, representing the applicant.
Do you want to proffer this, Mr. Kadensky?
Yes, I will, and I think Mr. Hurdle did a pretty good job of saying what's going on 2200 and 2000 block of Maryland Avenue and the research and so forth. We have a young individual wants to go in business who's been connected with the alcoholic beverage business for a number of years as a consultant and worked with them, most recently with Ida B's Table and Doobies and a bunch of other places. I have previously submitted the floor plan, the menu, and the capital investment of $500,000 in this situation. There were letters of, on behalf of the applicant from Lane Harlan and other individuals, and Mr. Kelly Cross is here also to voice approval in this situation. She's alcohol certified, and all the people who will be selling alcoholic beverages will be alcohol certified and familiar with the rules and regulations of the liquor board, and has to be in touch with all the community groups in the area.
What's the nature of the restaurant?
The type of business,
Yeah, what kind of food?
I thought we had given a copy of the menu.
Oh, you may be
It
right.
should be in the packet there.
Okay,
Yeah, I can read it to you.
that's okay. I just-
Okay.
Okay, I see now.
Mhm. I see bison meatballs on there. That's very interesting because I was just out at Lake Tahoe and that they have some bison out there. Not very friendly though.
Well, I recommend them to you. All right, the commissioners have questions?
No question, Mr. Chair.
Just for the record, Mr. Kadensky, you did provide us a preliminary capital investment breakdown indicating that $500,000 has been expended. Is that correct?
That's correct. We'll show proof of the same. If you remember, you approved a new license for that location probably about a year ago, but the young lady during pandemic was not able to complete, the build out and so forth. So this applicant here has picked up the charge in this instance.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have members of the public who wish to comment, Mr. Bundy?
We may, Mr. Chair. I will ask if any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature. I did note in the preliminary, Ms. Dobson, Marissa Dobson, I've unmuted you. Did you wish to testify?
Nope, I'm just here witnessing and I'm happy everything went well.
Okay.
And for the record, Mr. Cross is here to my left in favor of the application.
Well, no member of the public has indicated they wish to testify, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Mr. Kadensky, then on the basis of the materials contained in the application, your extensive proffer and the support that's noted from Lane Harlan and Mr. Cross and perhaps Ms. Dobson, I'd vote to approve this application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license with outdoor table service. Commissioner?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I also approve the application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license and the request for outdoor table service.
Based upon the application, the proffer from Mr. Kadensky, as well as the support that's in the record, I too would vote to approve the new Class B license with outdoor table service. Good luck.
Thank you. Ms. Russell?
Medical exhibits for the record. Exhibit number 1, 2 letters of support from community. Exhibit number 2, business plan.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kadensky. Good luck to Ms. Gregor.
Thank you very much.
That concludes this matter before the board. Applicant has received preliminary approval and will receive follow-up instructions on how to legally complete the transfer via mail from this agency, and that transfer must be completed within 188 days of today's hearing. Mr. Chairman, are you ready to move to the next item?
Yes.
The next item on today's docket, applicants Ripjeet Singh and Gregory Miller, Be More Liquor LLC, trading as Hobbits Liquors. Premises are located at 4517 A and B, Bowleys Lane, Baltimore, Maryland, 21206. This is an application to transfer ownership of a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license and requesting delivery of alcoholic beverages. Mr. Kadensky is counsel, Mr. Chair.
Would you identify yourself again, please, sir?
For the record, Melvin J. Kadensky, 320 North Charles Street, representing the applicants in this matter.
Do you want to proffer this one as well?
Yes, I would. The individuals that are applying here, the board actually approved them for a location at 2607 Greenmount Avenue. That was not able to be completed due to numerous circumstances and problems in that area. They have then found another location, which is on Bowleys Lane, which is very close to Baltimore County. Will take the alcohol awareness course. They'll make sure that all their people that will be certified to familiarize themselves with the rules and regulations of the liquor board. And the particular location has been there for a long, long time. There's people want to retire, and it has attached to it. That's when you see the A and B, and it's attached with it has a deli, which means they service the community there with various foods and so forth. The deli has not been used in the last couple of years because the people who are there, the applicants who are running the place want to retire. So the new group wants to go in there and start revitalizing that part of the business.
And the current licensees had the violation back in 2008 for sale to minors, so you'll advise them to be careful about that.
That's correct. I'll make sure that I told them 2008, that's pretty commendable in this business.
I understand. Okay, commissioners, do you have questions?
No questions, Mr. Chair.
No questions.
Thank you.
Public, Bundy?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. Mr. Chair, I do not see anyone who has raised their hand.
Thank you. Mr. Kadensky, then on the basis of the materials contained in the application and your proffer, I'd vote to approve the application to transfer this Class A beer, wine, and liquor license with delivery of alcoholic beverages. Commissioners?
Mr. Chair, I also approve the application to transfer ownership and requesting delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Based upon the application and the proffer from Mr. Kadensky, I too would vote to approve the transfer of ownership with the delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Thank you. Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kadensky. Good luck to your clients.
That concludes this matter before the board today. Applicant has received preliminary approval for their transfer and will receive follow-up instructions via mail from this agency on how to legally complete the transfer, which must occur within 180 days by law of today's hearing. Mr. Chair, are you ready for the final matter?
Yes, sir.
The final matter on today's docket, applicant Subodha Bilas Panada and Pravat Jung Thapa, Saraksha LLC, trading as Sweet Carolina Liquor. Premises are located at 309 South Broadway, Baltimore, Maryland, 21231. This is an application to transfer ownership of a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license and requesting delivery of alcoholic beverages. And Mr. Kadensky is counsel.
One more time, Mr. Kadensky.
For the record, Melvin J. Kadensky, 320 North Charles Street. This application to transfer an existing license been here for quite some time. Both the applicants and I have with me, they've taken the alcohol awareness courses. They're familiar with the rules and regulations of the liquor board. They won't be getting changes in the operation of the area. They are cognizant of the fact that not to make sure they didn't serve any minors. I noticed in the record that someplace a few years ago there was a violation in 2009, but however, after that they were mailed a letter of recognition for underage drinking compliance. In this particular case, any of the persons who would be serving alcohol would be alcohol certified, and they are familiarizing themselves with the area, and the current owners will stay on for a period of time to help them through the transition.
Do your clients have any experience at all in the liquor business?
Not much, very little, but the current owners will stay there, and they've been in there monitoring the situation in that particular area. I think the area of Broadway is a very commercial area up at that area. And I guess when I lived there, they didn't call it Fells Point. Now they call it Fells Point.
Okay, commissioners have questions?
No questions, Mr. Chair.
No questions.
Do we have members of the public, Mr. Bundy?
Should unmute myself. If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. Mr. Chair, I do not see anyone who has raised their hand.
It's been a quiet day. All right, thank you. Mr. Kudensky, on the basis of the materials contained in the application and your proffer with respect to these applicants, I would vote to approve their application to transfer ownership of this Class A beer, wine, and liquor license with delivery of alcoholic beverages. Commissioners?
Yeah. Mr. Chair, I also approve the application to transfer ownership and requested delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Based upon the application, the proffer from Mr. Kudensky, I too would vote to approve the transfer of ownership with the delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Thank you, Ms. Russell.
No exhibits for the record.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kudensky. Good luck to your clients.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Application has been preliminarily approved, and applicant and counsel will receive follow-up instructions from this agency on how to legally complete the transfer, which must occur within 180 days of today's hearing, and that will come via U.S. mail. Mr. Chair, that is the last item before you. If you have any words or you wish for me to read the adjournment.
Go ahead.
The board will be in recess until Thursday, October 7th, 2021. The board shall post on its website, provide notice to applicants and/or attorneys, and conduct a virtual hearing on this date. Please call our office at 410-396-4377 between 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. with any questions or concerns that you have concerning these matters or any other. That's it, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you to the commissioners, to the staff, all those who participated today. We'll see you next week. Go out and enjoy this beautiful day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Thank you. Have a good day.